Hey, welcome in, folks. It's Babbaginator. We're just getting started. It's been a while. Hey, good to see you, Roller. So as you can see, I am back operational, streaming again. My computer came back earlier today, and actually, literally, it's around almost 5 o'clock, right at the end of the shop was closing up when I went to pick it up. So, but we're gonna do something new. We're gonna try. It's a new year, new challenge, new fun. We're gonna do Interloper. We're gonna do with Astrid, and we are going to do what I'm going to call um, luck of the draw, and it's basically we draw a card every time we enter a new region. So now it's going to have this a little bit more organized. I have it mostly organized, but I need to hook in one thing here that I haven't set up yet, and that is, I think I'll have it set up for next time. Come on, there we go. One second here. Just want a single card. Okay, I'll probably have to write a generator next, of course. Um, not really liking most of these. Okay, well, I guess we'll have this for now. Hold on a second while we hook this in. Do, do, do. I think this should work. We'll set this up as a browser source. Will this work? Actually, this might not work. Okay, so here's the challenge. Let's see if I get this right here. Hearts is meat, diamonds are days, clubs are hides or guts, spades is water. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle a few times, and then we'll just deal, and that's what we get here. So we have right off the bat, okay. So that's going to be, let's see, Jack is 11, Queen 12, 13 days. 13 days here. Yay, not fun. Already we are suffering. Okay, so yeah, we should put our goal somewhere in here. I guess we can put it right now in our notes. Okay. King of diamonds. 13 days. Okay. Okay. So we have all the same usual fun stuff. Middle of the night. Cold. Need to survive here 13 days. Already that's worse than roll with it. Yeah, midnight start is not good. This could be a short run. Oh, we found a road. Okay, we kind of know where we are now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bad luck. Whew. Oh, we got to the kitchen. We just saw it. Bed, right? Okay, we are up. We are operational. So yeah, it's been a pretty good holiday season. Was able to go home, spend time with my mother, and my sister's family as well. Ate well, but not too much. You know, the funny thing is, I actually did well enough, super well while I was home in Saskatchewan, that I didn't actually gain weight. And then I got back here, and we had all these leftover snacks here. I started snacking. Now I've gained weight from being here as opposed to back home with, I don't know, different temptations, different food. So, so yeah. So despite exercising every day, I messed up when I got back here. Started eating more again. So more work ahead of me to get back. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? Okay, our best chance, I think, for matches is going to be across the way at the gas station. Just have to hope we don't run into anyone there. No, that's a way to start a fire if we need it. Matches would be better though. Usually we get matches here. Guess it could be at the front of the shop. See if it's anything at this entrance. Okay, trusty matches right there. Hey, Lay Hugh, thanks for the resub. 30 months. Yeah, thanks again for hanging out with us. We are starting a brand new challenge. Whoa, 500 bits. Thank you for your donation. And your cheer. Yeah, it's good to be back. I got my computer back from the shop today, and I was able to get everything set up again. Wow, gift subs as well. You're in a good mood. Well, I'm glad to be on. On the good list, right? Yeah, it's been weird to be out of streaming for the last few weeks. Like I did that one attempt to stream. I think we're going to just start our fire here. But we still don't have a stone, do we? We have nothing to threaten with. It's not good. Okay, we'll go back inside. Yeah, I wasn't on. I was stuck waiting for my computer repair. But yeah, the shop reopened today, so I was there first thing in the morning, dropped off my motherboard and replacement hard drive, and they had everything pretty much back together by noon, and then they ran some more tests in the afternoon, and then I picked it up later in the afternoon. So the big hassle was that the hard drive that failed turned out to be the hard drive that I had stored video, sound, and streaming assets on, plus a few other things. So it did mean that I had to do some minor rebuilding of things before I could get the stream to go, because I had to, yeah, just some of the assets were just missing, so. And no backups. Or if I had backups, they were on my home computer back in Saskatchewan, and I didn't think to, make a copy on the cloud for myself. How's my mom? She's doing well. I think she was happy to have me home. I think she's getting a little lonely. I think she's ready for me to finish up and find some sort of permanent role somewhere, so she can decide whether or not she wants to sell the house and move out, or and join me wherever I end up, or if I'm going to end up moving back to Saskatchewan, if that's where the jobs are, or if I get no job. But I'm good at least until next December, or this, yeah. So I've got this full year ahead of me. That's still fine in terms of between school and work. I'm still good. And then next year, 2026, it's going to be more of a question of whether the university figures out a way to hire me, if there's a different job that comes up that works for me, if some other opportunities come up locally. So we shall see. There may be ways to stretch out my position even longer, but the ideal thing to happen would be for me to get hired in a permanent professional role. So. Okay, so yeah. But in the meantime, just working on, this week I started working on projects again, so could be a little bit more productive. We have to play. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll tear up some stuff while we wait for the. While we wait for the wolf to go away. Okay, what shall we do here? Do we feel lucky? Do we feel like we can run across to the other side? Where's the wolf at? I still haven't turned off those. So yes, maybe in compensation for my absence during the Christmas holiday season, you might be able to get me to sing something still. Yeah, Saskatchewan was kind of a mix of weather. When I first got back, it was cold. It was in the minus 20s, and there was snow, and I had to do a fair bit of snow shoveling, clearing out driveways for a couple days. Okay, begin. Well, how appropriate is that, right? Okay, let's do that here. Begin. Hold on a second. Looking to see where I put my glasses. Okay, we're back. Okay, we're going to read Begin. This is from my first book of poetry, no, my second book of poetry, Babbage's Dream, published by Sundress Publications in 2017. This is a poem that begins the collection, and we'll read it and then we'll talk about how it connects to the rest of the poems. Begin. Someone dreams of fire in a field, in a cold house, in the winter. Your head is on the table, your mind busily constructing a machine. Something taps at the door, calls you out from the deep reverie of making and unmaking. The wood is dark and full of veins. Lost in its haze, you glimpse a shape through the thick trees of night and hear the distant sound of an engine moving, its pistons and gears heavy with shudders and sighs. How it seems you've always heard it coming. Long before it appears, the embodied will of the earth set to flame, a metal desire, the semblance of an unknown name you've carried home with you, unwittingly, all night, your body singing in the hallway mirror. Something stirs in the corner of your eye, and you cannot say what it is, only that it grows like a wildfire in a storm, that it tastes of steam, that you would lay every number in the world on end, and still it would not be enough. The heavens opening wide their spiraling arms, and the dark heart within yearning to pull everything back while you stand on the threshold believing. So this poem is inspired by the account that Charles Babbage, 19th century mathematician and computer pioneer, gives of the moment in which he dreamt up the idea. And literally, he dreamed up the idea of a general purpose programmable machine. He dreamed up the idea that you could build a machine, that you could feed it a set of instructions, and then it would be able to, and it would adapt to those set of instructions. So the first version of it was he dreamed up, there's really two machines he dreamed up. The first machine was what he called the difference engine, which was basically to say, rather than hand calculate all the tables, all the numbers that go into logarithmic or trigonometric or other sort of calculational tables that, the values of which, were produced by evaluating these expansions, these numeric expansions, or these polynomic expansions. And this was a very tedious process. You just fed in a new value for x, and then calculated it out until it reached some sort of a limit that you said, okay, that's a number of points of accuracy that's acceptable, and then do it again and again and again. So this is very tedious and very prone to error. And so Babbage had dreamed up this idea that this could all be calculated with steam, with machinery. This is, why do we need humans to be involved with this part? It's all tedious work that could be calculated, and why not do it with a machine? And so that's sort of the beginnings of it. And the account that he gives is he was sitting in kind of a private library with, surrounded by books and studying all these tables and tables. There's like the mathematical tables, well, sitting at a table and thinking about all this, and then just becoming exasperated and then dreaming about the creation of a machine. Now, the poem has a number of, I like wordplay, I like puns. And so there's also like moments in which the line means one thing and another thing. So you have things like the wood is dark and full of veins. That's the wood at the table he's sitting at, his face down in the books, sleeping. The wood is dark and full of veins. But it is also a wood, like a forest, in which he's lost in, trying to find a way out. The reference here to the distant sound of an engine moving. Babbage, in another account, not related to this, but he was actually a big fan of trains, early trains in England. So much so, he's actually the person that designed the cow catcher on the front of the train. So that little plow thing at the front of the train that knocks debris off the track. Charles Babbage, when he was watching them with the first train, said he talked to Brunel, who was like one of the foremost British engineers for designing trains and train tracks. He said, why doesn't the train have something that pushes stuff off the track, in case there's debris? And so he designed something, and he proposed it, and that's what became the cow catcher, the front thing that pushes stuff off the track. So that's a Babbage invention. So in one of the accounts talking about trains, he said that his ear was peculiarly trained to hear the distant sound of an engine. And I thought this was a really wonderful phrase that he offered us, that his ear was tuned to the distant sound of an engine. Like long before, he was always the first person that heard the train before anyone else in the crowd heard it. And I thought, how interesting, how fascinating, and how apropos, how appropriate this is for someone whose foresight into technology was so great that he was designing a computer 130 years before the modern computer gets invented. So that's kind of, the engine here I'm referencing isn't so much the train as it is his own difference in analytical engines. And I do feel like he's kind of standing there, at the threshold, at the between the 19th and the 20th century. He never makes it into the 20th century. He dies in 1871, but he outlives so many people, and his ideas are so far ahead that he maintains this belief up until his death. When he writes in his memoir, he insists that some future generation will prove him right, that once built this machine, the analytical engine, the modern, what would have been the first computer, he says will change the world. And so he firmly believed that, even though he was not able to finish it in his lifetime, even though people stopped believing in him, he still believed in this idea and was so confident that it would come into existence after him that he continued to labor in designing it, even though there was no more funding for him, even though there was no more people willing to work on it with him. His, mechanical engineers kind of, the main engineer he worked with kind of abandoned ship at some point. And it's just him drawing out the whole thing. Insistent that there's going to be a day when it will be a reality. So, yeah, I love that story. So I think that is kind of interesting how, some things are like that. I feel like I can sense some things before they even happen. Okay, thanks for that. Okay, we are doing our best to make a new life for ourselves. Great Bear. So I think what we can say is we have succeeded in not freezing to death, succeeded in obtaining matches within 24 hours, which sometimes doesn't happen. And we're still a long ways away from, well, we have a sewing kit, so we can actually make some coverings for ourselves. We need to make torches. We don't have anything to throw yet. So we need to get some weapons, aka stones. Not much, but it is something. Look at that. We even got a coat going. Happy day. Okay, see you in a little bit. Oh, that was terrible. Let's go down to the river. Hopefully we can find some stones here. Okay. Well, that was quick. Hey Aaron, good to see you. Hope you've had a good holiday break. Classes don't start up until next week, but I am back to work already this week, so. But it's been pretty chill. I'm just working on one project that's got kind of two different facets. Kind of a tricky problem. It's a 18th century book catalog that has been transcribed, digitally transcribed with like some sort of AI assistance, but it's not really good. Like there's a lot of errors, a lot of mistranscriptions. So we've got to figure out a way to parse through the text and clean it up so it's more readable, more accurate. But the biggest headache is that I've got to figure out a way to break it up into separate entries for the books listed in the catalog. And this is tricky because the entries are not consistent in their formatting. Is it written in Infernal? It might as well be. It's yeah. Sometimes the AI transcription just gets things really, really wrong because it doesn't know how to read, 18th century clerk hand. I guess it's not clerk hand technically. This isn't a church document, it's a bookseller's document. That's an interesting document. It's there's a 18th century bookseller who runs a bookshop, and he produces these books that are a list of all the descriptions of all the books that he has available for sale. So this is really kind of a remarkable resource to get descriptions of books that were in print or in circulation at that time period. But yeah, it's okay. So we've done our searching around. It's a little bit late here. I think we spend some time boiling water or something, cooking potatoes, boiling water. We got a 6-burner stove. How much firewood do we have? Not tons. We can make more. Maybe. Maybe not. We don't have a hatchet or a hammer. We have no bedroll. All our beds are here. Okay. Well, do what we can. Do have at least a skillet. We can get a little bit more water out of it. So yeah, so so that one's kind of an interesting problem. I'm going to try something tomorrow, see if I have a different approach. But we're getting into the territory where really I would prefer to use a better tool than what they used. Okay. Just mix some extra water here. Then we got all our potatoes. And we got this guy. So yeah, we started this run, and we're doing luck of the draw, which is a new challenge that I came up with. And basically what we're doing here is every time we start in a region or move to a new region, we draw a card. And depending on the suit on the card and the number, we have different goals. So we started this run and we got a king of, what was it? King of diamonds. So we are committed. Is it king of diamonds? King of hearts. Oh, actually, that's worse. What did we get? Diamonds or hearts? Diamonds. So we have 13 days here. We have already made 0. Got a long ways to go. So we've got 13 days before we can leave. Are we going to have enough food? That's what I'm worried about. Yeah, I think we might have to do something clever. Okay, let's see how many torches we have. Okay, eating potatoes. I wonder where our next stop should be. Should we? I think we should probably try for the farmhouse. Well, the barn and the farmhouse. Okay, might as well use all the. So what's the challenge? We draw from a deck of cards, and it tells us what our yeah. So what we're gonna get. Basically, every time we enter a region, or we start off somewhere, we do this. I think I still have it open. So we would shuffle the deck. Let me draw a card. And depending on what the card's suit and number is, tells us different things. So an ace of spades, for instance, then would be spades is water for digging wells, right? So so one kilogram of water. So we have to boil or create 1 kilogram of water before we can leave the region. Okay, so that one was easy. That would have been easy. We drew King of Diamonds, which means that we have 12 days. 12 days here. No, not 12. 13 days. 13 days in Pleasant Valley. So before we can leave. So if we had, let's say, a 4 of clubs, that would mean we'd have to get 4 hides or guts within that time period. 13 of hearts means 13 kilos of meat. So we have to produce 13 kilos of meat during that time period before we can leave. So there's nothing in the rules that says we can't take it or use it, but we do have to harvest that. So it's a little bit like roll with it, but not quite, potentially not quite as punishing. But I mean, you could get really unlucky. You know, imagine if you got 13 kilos of meat in Crumbling Highway. It could take you a while to get that, right? The carcasses don't have that much. So you would have to scavenge fish. That's new. 9. We're not doing too badly. Okay, let's see if we can make it all the way. Or should we go to the plane crash first? Let's go to the barn. Yeah, but I was gone. I was unavailable for most of it, so I figure we'll leave the holiday ones on for another day or two. Yeah, we don't want to throw that around. What else can I tell you? We had the most epic ending before the holidays for my D&D campaign. It was a big battle with necromancer in a pocket dimension that the necromancer had fled to, and in the final battle, they end up wresting control of the artifact he's using to create these different portals, and it begins to go haywire as soon as they defeat the necromancer, which was a really close battle. Um, the artifact goes out of control, and suddenly a portal opens and drags almost the entire party through it, with the exception of the bard. And the bard is actually, the player of the bard is actually just graduated, and so actually can't be in the campaign any longer. So originally the plan was that she was supposed to get teleported through the portal and kind of be lost in sort of interplanar space, bouncing around different places. But instead, she's stuck behind because of how they rolled their saves. The rest of the party is now teleporting someplace randomly, unknown, and that's where we're starting this semester's campaign starts up with them in a completely unknown place. We're not even certain if they're going to be in the same plane. Same realm of existence? Don't know. Anyways, that may start this weekend or it might wait until next week. I'm thinking of pushing it until next week, even though we have no classes this week. It's just because we're down to 3 players. Because our 4th player left, and there was a 5th player, but the 5th player's been gone for like a few months now due to demands of working on her thesis. So we are recruiting. So I think we might spend a week recruiting. But anyways, I'll wait to hear back, see if anyone else. We have one person says that they're free this weekend. Haven't heard back from the other 2. But I'm leaning towards waiting a week. But it definitely will be interesting. Yeah, I think they leveled to 10. So we're on. No, we don't need this yet. Yeah, things are about to get much more complicated for me as a DM because the power level really changes once they get to level 10. I don't know. It's maybe half an hour early for yawning. Baba. So I think what I'll do for next stream is I will make my own random generator, no surprise, to take care of the cards, and I will actually make my own custom deck. So I will have 4 of water, 7 of meat. Oh, Merry Christmas indeed. Get a hacksaw here, or a pry bar, we're really set. Second tin, antibiotics. Less than a year until you retire. Wow. Good for you. I don't think I get to retire. I think I get to continue on working. Yeah. Pistol. Stim. And skip that. Oop. No, I was at I don't know if anyone did anything interesting for New Year's. I did something that wasn't necessarily, I don't know. I made a little gesture towards being social and went out and attended a New Year's Eve party for singles at my church, which was probably not worth the half-hour drive to get out there. It was actually a 40-minute drive, and yeah, small numbers. I mean, it was honestly, it was quite sad. The problem was this: I felt like they had done a decent job at so they've done a decent job of providing refreshments, of actually hiring a decent DJ. Decorations were fine. Everything was good. It's just locations pretty far out. and attendance was poor. It was like it peaked at 40. It was like, it's not really, you need to have more, especially if there's a dance going on. There needs to be at least 80, 100 people. That would be great. So yeah, little disappointing. But on the other hand, I got to say I made an effort. Last day of the year, I made an effort. And then it's back to Hermitville, right? Yeah, you're very talky. Go away, go away. Yeah, he's gonna come back, isn't he? What are we doing? Hey, Roller. Good to see you. Lurk, lurk. Oh, toolbox. Yeah, to a certain degree, you know, I think you just have to. I call that choosing my battles. I just like some things I just realize are not really things I can affect major change on. Other things I can. I can choose to focus on something smaller and get that done. I see more matches. Second set of matches. Yeah, I think that's the realistic thing. Is just kind of some things you can't really change. You can change your location, yeah, but they're really pushing the spray paint hard in this run. Salt, it's too much of it. Oh, pry bar. Okay, we'll be back. Yeah. No, don't envy you. It seemed like a fun place to be for the next few years. But, oh. Seven. Moldy chicken. Okay. Ooh. Whole lot of nothing. Nothing under the bed. Uh-oh. Yeah, Let's see if we can rescue that. What? Got food poisoning from that? Hmm. Well, that was a mistake. Hello, hey Rita, good to see you. We are on probably for another few minutes and then we're going to wrap up here. Poor Astrid got food poisoning, so I've got to spend 10 hours relaxing, eating carrots. Well, welcome back then. Made it 2 days so far. Oops. Okay, so yeah, we're doing a new challenge. Hmm. Oh, keep forgetting to repair that one. Hey, welcome back, Lady Q. We're going to wrap up here probably in a couple minutes. Just a little tired. Hey, more cheers, Lady Q. Thanks for additional cheers. Mm. The wake up cheer. Okay, we made it to the morning for day 3. Okay, we're all set up then. Okay, getting sleepy. So let's pop out here. Yeah, the PV bunker. I always forget to check that. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, we're officially on day 3. We're going to wrap up here tonight. Let's read one more poem before we go, and then go rate someone. Oh, this is fun. Okay. Prodigal. I don't know. Do we want to do that one? It's kind of a sad one to end on. Maybe we'll do one more. See what else we got. Loop. I think we did that one before the break. Cast. Okay. Cast. Cast feels appropriate. It's about things changing, right? From one thing to another. This is again from Babbage's Dream, my second book of poetry, Sundress Publications, 2017. This poem is inspired, one of a series of poems inspired by programming terms, especially out of C++, I think, a lot of times. This is cast, which means to convert a variable from one type to another. How easily one thing becomes another in a language prone to fluidity. A shadow thrown against a wall, now willed into a number or a word, a strange alchemy of sorts, somehow akin to the conversion of the apparently common and worthless into the valued commodities of this world. The skins used by the gold beater, Babbage writes, are produced from the offal of animals. How is it, he ponders, that from the hooves of weathered beasts, weathered horses and cattle come such beautiful crystals of yellow salt? What lies at the heart of such litany, Babbage with pen moving, translating the world into a series of unanticipated revelations, each more intricate than the last, just as the compiler now ponders like a god at judgment, weighing each line of code with what it means or fails to mean, how each casting of a thing engenders the creation of another. Nothing is ever the same after translation, after the name has been hefted, then posited to the waves, the dark world dimming in its simple downward trajectory of terms, the endless run of zeros widening back to the farthest shores. The melancholy of form, to be, to become, the shape of nothing, how it is skinned and laid to rest, and the hour of our words and their departures, we are captive here to whatever comes, whatever returns, be it beauty or love or the unfurled wings of their manifold ruin. Okay, so cast really plays off of this concept from computer science, especially in languages like C++ that have strong types or stronger types, and then other languages that you can. I'd say other languages are a lot more fluid in terms of you don't even have to cast anything; it can just kind of morph into, automatically morphs into. If you, depending on what you're using to compare it, it can compare it as if it were a different type. So that's kind of interesting between languages. But in this case, there is this fluidity that's really interesting to me. Um, and, it's also grounded by some of Babbage's writing. And he has this he wanted to demonstrate how interconnected all these different industries were at his time period. Um, and how so often the things that were thrown away in one industry or treated as excess or unnecessary in one industry were actually, essential in a different industry. And so he did this, he writes out this extended example of how this all fits together. And he says, like, consider, for example, a horse, an old horse that's brought to like a slaughter yard and its carcass. And so he goes through it and he talks about like all the things that come out of that carcass. You know, so you have like, you have the hide from the horse, you have the flesh. But he goes down into like collecting the cartilage and the bones. He goes into looking at what happens to the blood. He looks at the maggots that are harvested out of it. He looks at all these different industries that benefit from, like, could benefit from what is produced from one carcass. And he tallies up the numbers at the end of like how much money is generated in all this interconnected exchange of goods and industries if they actually were talking to each other and if they actually, did their exchanges in this way. So for Babbage, then, Babbage is kind of instrumental. This is in his book called On the Economy of Machines and Manufactures, which was groundbreaking and a bestseller, and a book on interconnected industry being a bestseller is a weird concept. But it was so groundbreaking in his type of industrial research and process, thinking about efficiency and process and manufacturing in this particular way, and the interconnectedness, like the ecosystem of all these different industries, was so groundbreaking that it actually inspired Marx and Engels to write Das Kapital. So, and they credit Babbage at the beginning of their book and say, like, that these ideas like came about from thinking about what Babbage had offered in his book. So it's really interesting, like how, these ideas that come into play. One person has this idea about like, yeah, I mean, these are not isolated industries. They're all part of a large ecosystem that requires each other. It needs to be thought of in this particular way. And then that feeds into larger philosophy, economics, it leads into a critique of capitalism. It leads into a deeper appreciation for the role of labor and work. So that's interesting how what seemed to him as a project about understanding factories and understanding efficiencies turns into a much deeper opportunity to step into, like, to really examine labor and understand, the forces that bring these goods together in manufacturing. So there's that. Trying to think what else I wanted to say about this. Yeah, I think when I was writing this too, I thought about how casting is, in a way, a translation, an act of translation. And so what I talk about here is like nothing is ever the same after translation, after the name has been hefted and posited to the waves. And I think about that action of like you throw the stone out across the lake, across the surface of the water, and that's kind of what you do when you're translating. You throw it out there and then there's all these ripples, and the stone never makes it to the other side of shore. It's always going to plunge into the deep. It's never going to succeed, but all the ripples go out from it each time it touches down, it produces at least a new set of ripples which interfere with each other, but it's still somehow an act of creation, an act of, beauty that is born out of one act. You end up having all these ripples afterwards. So, okay. Yeah, let's finish my blathering and find someone to raid. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Let's do a quick little look and see who is out there. Okay, who do we got here? Big Fish. It's been a while. Let's go visit Big Fish. Hey, we're going to get this raid set up here in a second. Okay, our raid is getting started here. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I do appreciate it. Thank you for all the bits and gift subs and resubs and help. Just yeah, it feels good. It's been a kind of a tumultuous last couple of weeks away for holidays, but also dealing with the unexpected demise of my motherboard on this machine. But now it's back from the shop and everything's working, so we're good to be back. Okay, let's head on over. Thank you all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.